With less than 2 weeks to go until the election, CNN has just discovered it can push back against Republican gaslighting. Jim Acosta has clearly had enough as he takes on the chair of the Georgia State Republican Party, who tried gaslighting him over election integrity. Acosta had him on the show to talk about voter turnout and voter integrity, but mostly he had him on the show to make him accountable for all the election lies that people in his party are already spreading about the 2024 election. The Republican Party is already carrying out a multi-pronged campaign to steal this election. It includes voter suppression, discrediting the election process, and then moving to decertify the election if it doesn't go their way, throwing the election to the House of Representatives. Republicans are already discrediting the process for that very reason. They are laying the groundwork as a means for later on contesting the election results. Party wackos like Marjorie Taylor Greene are already claiming that the computers are not working properly. Acosta went straight to the top so that he can confront these rumors as lies. What he got instead was gaslighting.
If he doesn't, will you trust the results this time around and accept them and move on?
Look, I think this is a much more secure election than 2020. We don't have ballot drop boxes scattered randomly all over the state. We don't have election officials.
But Josh, you're making suggestions. You're making suggestions that there was some kind of tomfoolery and shenanigans going on last time around. Your party's own Secretary of State said that was not the case, and that it was a free and fair election, and that it was secure. I'm just saying, Josh. What you're saying is horse crap.
You said something earlier.
It's just horse crap.
You said something earlier. I mean, you can call it whatever you want to.
It just is.
I've lived here for the last 4 years. You haven't. I know what happened down here. You don't. You have an agenda. You brought me on here under false pretenses.
Josh,
you don't want to
that is
talk
not
about
the
what
case.
The producers told me they wanted to
It's
talk
your
about.
party's Secretary of State.
That's important for your viewers to understand. It's important for your viewers to understand that you're interested in constantly pushing a dishonest narrative and using
what is the
people
dishonest
as a foil
narrative?
for that
What is the dishonest narrative? The election was secure last time around, Josh. You're just lying.
Look,
you're just lying.
You just said the last person on your program talked about how it was a pandemic last time and how different it was last time. It was different. There was an emergency rule passed with our state elections board with almost no notice to legislate into our law ballot drop boxes. There were no instructions given about
Josh,
it.
But your Secretary of State. It was your Secretary of State. I'm just saying it was your.
What the Secretary of State's position is,
and
I don't agree with the Secretary of State's position that it was fine to scatter ballot drop boxes haphazardly across the state and not give people equal access to the vote. I think that was an incorrect decision. And I'm glad that that's not the law that we have anymore, because our state legislature and Governor Brian Kemp said we need to put some parameters around these ballot drop boxes and absentee voting. And I think that was very wise of them to do that.
I appreciate you coming on. You were able to talk about early voting. We were talking about all these issues, and I think as the state party chair, you should be prepared to answer these kinds of questions, especially when your own party officials say that the vote was secure last time around. But you continue to undermine it. I'm not going to let that fly on this program. I'm very sorry that you continue to do it. But Josh, thank you very much for your time.
I'll just post what your producer sent to me. Okay, then we can talk about who's
Josh. Next time, you got to be prepared for any and all questions. All right. And you're getting that straight from me.
We'll be right back. I'll definitely be prepared for you to talk about something.
Republicans resort to these tactics because they cannot win on the issues. They obfuscate, they gish gallop, they talk over, they do everything they can to give credibility to nothing but spurious claims and outright lies. Note how important it was for the chair to assert that there was greater voter turnout in low-propensity voters, a point that they will fall back on as evidence that the election was somehow stolen from Donald Trump when Kamala Harris wins Georgia. Acosta does a really good job of pushing back. For too long, the media has provided a platform for Republicans to spread this kind of disinformation and outright lies. And look, we all know the Republicans are unrivaled in their capacity for hypocrisy. But really, the chair of the Georgia Republican Party just looked straight into the camera and said, "We care about equal access to voting." Really? We are talking about the state that perfected removing voting machines from black neighborhoods to create exceedingly long lines and then pass laws to make it illegal to pass out food and water to those people waiting in line. So please tell us more about how concerned you are about equal access to voting. It's time the entire media learn how to take back control and stop providing a platform for gaslighting. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.